again. Not by split, but unanimous. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's another little bit of topic we have to at least cover, and that is the hype train, which is now known as Micheal Chandler.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to ask you real quick. Remember we watched the McGregor versus Poirier fight? They did that thing for Micheal Chandler versus Dan Hooker where they had like some sort of visual. Like,
yeah, they've upgraded some of the effects that they've used.
Yeah, they just did it for that one matchup.
Yeah, they use it a little bit, but they never use like characters and things like that. They used it for, I think they'd use it for 257 and UFC 257, and then they'll use it for 258 as well. They'll have something new for 258.
Yeah, well, they bagged, or was it fucking Brandon Shaw bagged it? I was like, what? What's wrong with that?
I don't think Brendan even watches the fights. You can tell Brendan doesn't watch the fights. He's like, like when they ask him questions, he's like, oh, I didn't know they were fighting. Shit. Like I don't really watch Brendan's breakdowns because he doesn't really watch the fights, and all his picks suck because he just picks the people he likes rather than the people he thinks are gonna win.
He had a problem with the visuals. He's like, first of all, UFC get rid of that Nickelodeon shit at the start. And I was like,
no, I thought it was all right.
I felt it was fine. I liked it. I remember I looked at you. I'm like, oh shit, I like what they're doing here.
I thought it was cool that if you want to have animations like that, then maybe have a little bit more focus towards who they are rather than the animations. But I thought it was cool, and it's a decent experiment. Like they're not going to get it perfect, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do one for Conor McGregor versus Poirier as well, but they didn't.
Did they not?
No, they didn't.
Oh, was it just Chandler versus Hooker?
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Perhaps you have to agree to it being played or something like that.
Either way, anyway, so we got to talk about Charles Oliveria. Everyone's talking about him ever since he beat Tony Ferguson. But he turned down the fight against Chandler. Now, I understand where he's coming from, considering Oliveira is on a multiple fight winning streak, and he doesn't really want to risk it against Micheal Chandler because I feel like a lot of the UFC fighters in the lightweight division are very irritated the fact that Chandler's just come in and, already gets to fight for the top ranking, and then he wants to immediately fight for the belt when he only lost to Pitbull, like, what? How long ago was it? Not long ago.
Quite a few years ago. I can't really remember, but I mean, let's be real, right? They can be upset about Chandler being so high in the ranks now that he's beat Dan Hooker, but they could have made a statement by coming and fighting Chandler if they wanted to. Dan Hooker's the only one that was man enough to put their hand up, right? I mean, Charles Oliveira already said prior to Dan Hooker he wouldn't be able to fight Micheal Chandler because he wouldn't be able to make the weight.
Yeah.
That was his excuse. Now Chandler's beat Dan Hooker, and they actually, after the UFC 257, they said, hey Chandler, we have someone that you'll want to fight in 2 weeks' time at UFC 258. Chandler jumps on a flight.
Yeah.
Goes to fly over. The UFC call him and say, bad news. Your opponent that we thought was going to materialize says they don't want to fight. And he goes, right, okay, and Chandler flies back. Now, when they talked to him about that, I think it was in Ariel Helwani's interview, they said, well, you do the math about who just fought and who are the people that are above me. The only two people that are above him are Gaethje and Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
Now that a lot of people have done some deductions on who could fight at that time, and it's Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira turned down the fight twice now. This is his second time, he's said. And he's now outwardly not given an excuse for weight. He said, I don't want to fight him because I have a 6 or 7 fight win streak. Why would I do that against someone who has a 1 fight win streak in the UFC? I've already proven myself. I want to fight Dustin Poirier. The fight he wants is Dustin Poirier. And he wants to
fight for the belt. He wants his title shot.
I think he deserves it. I think it's fair. Preferably I want Chandler versus Gaethje and Oliveira versus Poirier, and then that kind of sorts everything out. Charles Oliveira versus Poirier.
Card too.
Yeah, well, Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier for the vacant belt.
Yeah.
Then the first person gets the first crack at the title defense.
But here's the thing.
Is the winner of Gaethje and Chandler.
Poirier doesn't want to fight for the belt.
He gives mixed messages because he said in interviews, he says, I want the belt, man. But he already feels like he's the champion.
Yeah.
He just also wants that payday against Conor McGregor. He risks a bit fighting Conor the third time because Conor's notoriously
good at comeback fights.
Like that, he was a completely different fighter when he fought Diaz twice.
Yeah, everyone's kind of feel like the right route for Conor right now has got to be Diaz versus Conor, the trilogy, because
that would be a good fight. However,
I don't think it's going to be taken as seriously though.
I would like to see Rafael dos Anjos versus Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that because that was supposed to happen at, I think it was it 196, and then that fell out, and then we got the Diaz trilogy after that because Diaz, says I'll fight you and things like that. So, fuck, I'd love to see. I mean, Diaz was supposed to. I think there was even inklings that Diaz was gonna come in and fight Conor when Aldo pulled out.
Yeah.
And then Mendes came in. But so I'd still love to see Diaz versus Conor again.
Yeah.
But I think Conor should fight Javier dos Anjos. Diaz versus fucking anyone. I just want to see Diaz get in there and start moving because he says one thing and does another. He says they said they were going to get him a fight 155 and then now he says, no, you guys come to me at 170.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, Diaz hasn't fought since 2019, so...
Yeah, against Jorge. And let's be real,
Lost.
Jorge was going to win that.
Yeah, either way. He knocked him down in the first round and all that. He kept knocking him down, and Diaz was fighting off his back. It's just... No, we knew he was going to lose that fight.
It certainly looked like that. You can never know for 100% certain. However, I would argue that Jorge was going to beat him. And it's not Jorge's fault that he bloodied up his opponent. It's literally his job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand that Oliveira said that he doesn't want to fight Chandler because it doesn't offer him that much and he's already on a 7-fight win streak.
Yeah.
I agree with him. Yeah. It's just hard because I'd love to see that fight, but the correct way to do this is to start booking proper fights to have some clarity. And it needs to be Chandler versus Gaethje, Oliveira versus Poirier, and that sorts out everything in the division. And then you can sort out Conor and Paul Felder and Nate Diaz and Islam Makhachev and Kevin Lee. And you can organize these things afterwards. But now that Conor's lost, you need to shine a spotlight in Charles and Dustin, Justin, and Micheal. That's where it should all the attention should be focusing on. Yeah, I understand that he turned down the fight. It just would have been cool to see Chandler fight at Oliveira next week. That'd be sick. That'd be cool. It's cool when some fights materialize when there's hardly any, lead up. It's like a last minute replacement. You're like, oh shit. When Jorge came in to fight Kamaru Usman, we were like, fuck yeah.